Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Craig O'Neill, Vice President of Training here at Autoflow, but we have something even better today. We have our CEO, Chris Cloutier, with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being here, Chris.
Yeah, Craig, thanks for having me. This is exciting.
Oh, I think it is. So here's the thing, folks. I just had some good time with Chris. We were in Utah for a conference, and we did have a little bit of time to hike up a hill, which is great. Shoulder to shoulder time with the boss man is, well, I really appreciate it because, hey, look, we're remote. I don't get to spend too much time with you in person, but I do get regular doses of your perspective on a number of things, be it our spiritual matters of the heart, or we're talking about obviously software company technology and all the things, your perspective on the industry. And I really value it. And I really value the opportunity here today that we have to get to draw out some of your perspective that maybe our audience doesn't always get to hear. And so this topic came up. AMA with Chris Cloutier has a nice rhyme to it too, if I say it that way. And that's the right way to pronounce the name, isn't it?
Yes. I always say clue as in get a clue, and then T and A, Cloutier, and you never go wrong with it. Yeah, and Craig, I'm honored. I don't think that there's enough to talk about me for an hour, let alone 20 minutes. But hey, you know me, I always have an opinion or a thought on everything. That is for sure. So whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, I will give you my best.
It's valuable, right, wrong, or different. I'll give you this. It's a valuable opinion, I think.
For sure.
So let's get some context to this first, though. A lot of the people who don't know your background, I think it's just useful to lay it down real quick. You did not start in the auto repair industry. You started in software, specifically with Southwest Airlines.
I did actually graduated with a degree in computer science from University of North Texas in Denton. So I was an engineer from the time I was 8 years old, when my brother brought in an IBM clone computer and we started figuring out how to write our own video games. So 6 kids, we didn't have a lot of money, but we loved video games like everybody else. Back then it was the quarter arcades, if you can believe that, right? And it was expensive to go to those things. When the computer came out, the personal computer came out and we could write our own, we were off to the races. A whole new world was opened up for us. Nice. So my background has always been development. It has been problem solving. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, Craig. I can tell you in early days of college, I was writing programs for casinos. We were like, hey, we're going to go write some online card games and gambling, and went to a couple casinos and said, hey, this is the future. And you know what they told us? No, you're an idiot. People want to show up to our casinos and they would rather be sitting in the chair than playing some stupid online game. And now look at like online gambling, like it's a multi-trillion, wish I would have stuck with that one, but I didn't. Yeah. So throughout my life, I've always, been a problem solver, been an entrepreneur. And then, after I worked for a couple corporate companies, Craig, I just got to the point where, and I'll say this, and I've said it to you guys, and I don't mind telling the audience, but I got tired of suffering other people's foolish decisions. I wanted people to suffer my foolish decisions. So therefore, I wanted to become boss. And unfortunately, you guys got to suffer my foolish decisions all the time, right? And I do too. So that's the catch-22. I didn't realize I'm suffering my own foolish decisions every day. And then that led me to open the shop with my brother. Wrote Auto text me just for our own shop to begin with. And from there, I started talking to shop owners. I want to know what they knew and what they didn't know. And then I was like, hey, I got this program. And like, hey, that's super cool. We want to use it. And that just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed. And here I am, shop owner, software guy. But ultimately, Craig, I'm an entrepreneur. That's what the Lord gifted me with, the spirit of entrepreneurism.
Nice. So when you came into the shop environment, your perspective of this industry from your software background coming into auto repair, what was that like?
Chaos. It's funny. I opened up a shop with my brother and I thought, man, we're going to print money out of this thing. It's going to be easy. And my God, it was anything but. It was pure chaos. And it was chaos for a long time. And this goes back to why I created Auto Text Me, is because I came from an industry where in development and projects, there's this project plan, there's milestones, you know where you are, because if you get off track, it could cost you millions of dollars. Well, I go from that to going to a shop where it's a clipboard and it's just wherever that clipboard is wherever the wherever the car is, wherever the tech is, wherever the progress of that car is. And it was chaos. And Craig, I can remember when we, first started, we'd have 2 or 3 cars and we'd get up to 5 or 6. At the beginning, it was 2 or 3 cars a day. Then got up to 5 or 6. And we were, my God, it was crazy. What is this? What's that? What's it? Oh my God. You know how it is. Like everybody's running around everywhere. Keys are flying, clipboards are flying. And so, yeah, I had no idea what I was walking into. Yeah. Ask me, 15 years ago if I'd be an auto repair, and I'd say, hell no.
Yeah, no, it takes very little time in an auto repair shop to see how chaotic it is.
That's it. Especially. And so my heart is for like any business owner. I love business owners. I love anybody who puts their neck out and puts it's not just their neck, it's their own family's neck, right? Mm-hmm. So anybody who's willing to go out on their own and they're like, I'm going to provide for me and my family. I'm going to go out in the fields and till for myself. I'm going to kill for myself, and, I'll kill game, food for myself. I have a heart for that. I know a lot of people who get into business, they buy their jobs, the E-Myth, right? You buy your position, and unfortunately they get overwhelmed and everything else, right? So this is, me and you, right? Why do we go around and why do we teach people on how to implement technology? And you have a heart for it too. It's a heart for helping, right? Because I was there. So I want people to know, hey, there's another side and it's really great, right? And because people helped me. And I think if anything, if we learn in life, it's, look at all the people who did help you, and you owe it to them to give back to the others that come after you.
Yeah, I feel like one of the things in our industry, it sometimes resists technology because we value the people so much that we enjoy being in a personal interaction. And you come from part of your background with the software where technology is solutions, and it is not in opposition to that same thing. You see the connection between technology helping us with the interactions to improve the relationships. And I feel like that's a big part of why the product that we support today is what it is today. So I want to ask this: how do you define your role in the industry now? You've matured, you have multiple locations now in the shop. The software company has grown as well. How do you see your role evolving in the industry?
So it's funny. I see myself, Craig, and I'm going to use this term, and it's a horrible term, right? But it's the first thing that comes to mind. Influencer. Right. We all want to be an influencer in the things that we do. We want to know that, hey, what we do matters. Right. And so I think, and this is what they say, John Maxwell says this, right? What is leadership? It's influence. It's nothing more. Like, you can't control somebody to do something. You can't get some, but you can be influential to people. Right. And I think that over time, like I want to continue to influence this industry that is taking care of me, my family, my brother's family, all the employees I have now in the shops that I have, in the software company I have. And another word I use a lot is fair. Want to make, I feel like sometimes I have to be a police officer in my own companies and other companies too, to make sure that things are fair, because I think there's too many people that are trying to get ahead in life or trying to get a leg up, or that are treated unfairly, but they don't realize they're being treated unfairly. They don't know what they don't know. And so exposing them to ideas, thoughts, and helping them once again, like, build themselves and build their businesses that's a passion for mine. That one of my pillars is to build people people that want to be built. I'm not going to try and build somebody who doesn't want to be built, but man, I have a heart for building people.
Hey, I think the right word and top of influencer is developer. A developer of software, but a developer of people too. It's a part and parcel for what I see. So I'm grateful here that you all get to hear some of Chris's context and his background. I do want to make sure that you understand the floor is open for those of you that are joining us live. We've also fielded some questions from our audience beforehand, and we'll go ahead and dive into some of those as well. There's obviously a big elephant in the room in terms of technology evolution right now, Chris, and that is AI. The surge of AI is, I don't even know if you could call it a surge anymore. It's just there now in everything. How do you think it will affect the industry? What's to come?
I'm not going to take credit for this book, but I'd say anybody listening, anybody who hears this, go, queue up The AI Driven Leader right now. Go read it, go listen to it. It's one of the best books I've read on, application in AI, right? Most of our teams read it. It's going to progress so fast, Craig. I mean, we've already seen it just saturate in everything we do. And our teams, I've required it, asked it for everybody on the technology team to use it. A lot of people say, well, how is it going to help me? How does it help me? Right now, it is an extension. The way I see it, it's a Jarvis, right? I'm Iron Man. This is my Jarvis. It's an extension of my brain. So competitor analysis, that's an easy low-hanging fruit. Have you ever done competitor analysis around the shops around you? I agree. We break bread with everybody, but you understand what they are doing, what they aren't doing. Competitor analysis doesn't mean that you hate them. It means that, hey, what are some things that they might be doing on their website or in their business or other hourly that you're not doing that you could, maybe benefit from offering that as well, right? A lot of times we see our competitors as, bad, but we can see them as, hey, they're doing good, and let me find out why they're doing good. Maybe I could borrow some of these things. There's nothing new under the sun. So how it'll affect our industry? Look, we've already seen it in the phone calls. We've seen it in the software. We'll see it already. My techs, I have techs that are using ChatGPT to go diagnose vehicles, and it's gotten surprisingly good walking down these diag trees. We're only going to see that saturate more and more and more in everything we do. And I'm okay with that. Trust but verify, right? We know that. And then make sure that you're not losing the human element part of these things. And we talk about this all the time. Anybody now has a multi-million-dollar marketing firm at their fingertips. So now if you're a local business owner, how can you differentiate yourself between that kid, 18, 20-year-old person or 24-year-old shop owner who just started, and they've got, once again, $10 million marketing company, and they're building all this great marketing stuff. How do you differentiate between you and yourself? You've been around for 10, 20 years. Make sure you make those connections that you've been making. This goes back to your earlier point, Craig. Continue to make those connections. Continue to spend time with people, right? Leverage technology, but don't let it replace the connections you have with people, because the connections are going to be what matters in the future, without question, right? The fact that your local customer can come in and see Craig at the counter is going to matter. When everything is false in this world, the things that are real will still make a huge difference.
Nice. Now, there's so much that I know about you that makes that your answer make sense. The Toastmasters background for the communications side, your shop owner element of it with the technicians, your software background. Now, one of the things you said around your technicians' use of ChatGPT resonated with a question that we had from Rui Martins at Evolve AD. Rui said, I feel technical training for technicians has taken a step backwards, saying that it doesn't seem like much of a priority since COVID. He asked, how do you see this?
Man, so I'm going to agree with him. But I'm going to say, even before COVID, Rui, that I felt that we don't value training enough in this industry. Everybody talks about it. Everybody says they value it. And this is why I don't think that we value it as much as we do, is because I'm in Dallas, and too many times, like we had Garage Gurus here. We had all kinds of these massive training facilities with bays in them, where you would do half a day in the classroom, you do half a day out in the bay. And I thought it was so badass. I would send my guys, and Craig, how many other shops sent their people? I'll ask you the question. You know the answer.
Yeah.
How many?
I don't remember.
Two.
I
might see one other technician in there. So I might have three guys in there, and I might have one other technician from another shop that's been sent to this training, right? And this is pre-COVID. So they can't sustain this ability to continue to train these technicians when nobody's showing up. And this is why, although, and I'm not going to, so my guys do a lot of after hours training with the, different facilitators and stuff like that. It's not always the greatest training, because it depends on the instructor that you get. But if you can feed a technician and you can do it after hours, you'll see more people in there. So I don't think we've valued training enough to where we're willing to send our people away for a day and then get the benefits of what that would be. So, and I'm big on training, in the software company, I require training. In my shops, I require training. Do I think that people will become more dumb because of AI? Absolutely. Our memories have gotten worse because of what Elon Musk said, we're cyborgs now. because we're now attached to this, and that's the definition of cyborg. We can't live our day-to-day without being hooked up to the computer. We don't remember phone numbers anymore. Nope. We don't remember, like, think about our memory and our loss of memory that's happened because of these things. Our attention spans, what they're at, what do we say, 7%? That's what Microsoft said, less than a goldfish now. So AI will help, but then it will also, unfortunately, it'll start atrophying parts of our brain for, you know, a lot of the problem solving and stuff. So we have to stay vigilant, right? With making it still a priority in our shops to know that because you got to be able to trust, verify.
From a shop owner perspective, I see it as a great tool, but like I considered myself like a solid B+ technician. My brother was the A+ technician, but what that meant to me was like my brother knew exactly what to do with the scope and where to hook it up and what the information that he needed to interpret would be like. I knew how to do what he told me to do in order to do that. And all of a sudden I'm realizing like, all right, so AI is really kind of going to fill in like my brother's A+ knowledge and tell me what to do and help me interpret the data that I'm looking at. And I do believe that day is coming now where those solid B+ technicians you have that understand some principles of diagnostic skills are about to become A+ level in their abilities, thanks to these tools, which bad news for those A+ techs? I don't think so. I think that they're still going to be A+ techs and get to verify the data like you're saying. And we had a comment here from a few others that, yeah, this is not meant to replace. This is meant to enhance.
So here's the problem with human nature, and you know this and I know this, right? Craig, are you on Facebook anymore?
No, just quit it a couple months ago.
I know, but why?
Man, it's garbage, Chris.
It's garbage. It's time consuming. It's garbage. It's bad for your soul. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm proud of you for doing that. But how many people have done that, knowing that it's garbage? They're consuming garbage on a daily basis. And by the way, I'm not knocking anybody on Facebook or any social media right now. I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to crucify anybody.
We're just trying to tip the needle a little bit more towards leave it.
I'm just saying, right? When we know something's wrong, it unfortunately, hopefully, we'll still have, like, your memory doesn't have to be bad. Your attention span doesn't have to be bad. You can work on memory and attention span. Just because the phone has taken away the ability to remember phone numbers doesn't mean that you shouldn't be reading books and that you shouldn't be trying to better yourself and better. You know what I'm saying? So my fear is that AI, if we're not careful, we will not educate ourselves and we will just completely agree with everything it does. And that's when we go down that slippery slope, because then the brain atrophies and then we're done. So hopefully we have enough, business leaders and owners that will push their people to say, hey, explain to me why this is not just AI said so. Explain the ins and outs behind it.
Yeah. Well, let's stay on this. So we had a question from Patrick Lordy from Christian Brothers Automotive, Montgomery Mall. He asked, what is Autoflow's long-term vision for integrating AI-driven automation into everyday shop operations? And how do you plan to give service managers like him more control over customizing workflows, prompts, and reporting to fit our unique processes?
That's
like
awesome.
Long-term vision. Yeah.
This is a good one. Can I eat it one bite at a time?
One bite at a time, I think, is the right way to eat this.
So already, we have the kind of low-hanging fruit, rewriting some things, and we're going to continue that. Like DVI AI notes you can rewrite. We're going to obviously propagate that out to the rest of the tool. That's low-hanging fruit. One of the things that I think is important, and I don't mind sharing this, is insights. Where are the insights going to come from? Well, they're going to come from the data that we've collected. And that means reporting. So what are things that I think this is what he's asking? It's a great question. And I think the answer is, what can we pull from our reports? What can we then give to let's just call it AI for general term's sake. And then what can the AI start showing us where there might be gaps, where there might be opportunities, where there might be certain things. And it's all in the reporting. So first you have to have data, right? And this is why everybody's worried about data and big data and data lakes and data pools. You'll hear all these terms, and data's always been important because data is what trains that model and then gives that model ability to make decisions. It's all about probabilities of what it feels this thing should be right or wrong. So we're still absolutely about that. Bayflow is not dead. right? We had cameras in the bay. We had how much, buddy time's on there. The problem with Bayflow was it was like drinking from a fire hose, Craig. You know this.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like there was so much data in there. We could tell you what your bay rate hour was. We could tell you how long it took to do an oil change. Like we could tell you all these things. We put it not on the shelf. We put it a little bit back as we've moved forward in AI to say, how can we put an agent on top of that as well? How can we put AI agents on top of certain things in the workflow, in the different pieces, with the backing of the data from the reporting to start helping just prompt you and say, hey, have you thought about that? Did you see this? There's opportunities here. There's opportunities here, right? So and we've collected a lot of data over the years, and I think it'll be beneficial to us as well. Now, as far as the reporting and customization, all that, we're on a project right now. And I don't ever like to talk blue sky. We sell what we have. We don't ever so don't mark my words. Don't ask me if this is coming next week or in the next couple of months, but we're because of the AI ability to go in and look at our reporting data. And once again, we're not sharing anybody's data. We're not selling anybody's data. We're not doing anything like that. We're going to have to move this data into, data lake and all this other stuff. And when we do this, and Craig's been your best proponent, all the shops out there for self-fulfilling reports. Craig wants, hey, why can't a shop go build its own reports? So that is absolutely on our roadmap to say, what can we do to allow shop owners to say, hey, I can take this piece, I can take this piece, I can take this piece, and I can go, build the report that I want to be able to see. So I am all about configurability and creating options for shop owners, because I realize that not everybody is the same. Not all shops are the same. We're all fixing cars, but the way we do it is a little bit different. So I'm all about customization across the board. So we're going to continue down that path. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's a good answer. Probably not.
I mean,
no dates. Don't ask me. Gerald Martin's probably out there. Gerald Martin, do not ask me dates on when this is going to be. It will be coming. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, no. And this, Patrick had another question too about one thing Autoflow could be doing differently to make life easier for service managers on the ground, not just in theory, but day to day in the grind. And Chris, I feel like this is all related to the question you just answered. The day-to-day grind, the work of work is one of the terms that I've heard for those proponents of AI as an extension of yourself. It helps reduce the work of work. A lot less of having to keep track of everything and having essentially a thought partner with you to be able to make quicker decisions. I think that's how managers are going to feel the benefit.
That's it, Craig. So looking at like the new workflow that we're going to put out, can we average times? Can we prompt on certain things? And let's just say we apply an agent to the workflow. We're not necessarily going to move workflow for you, but we're certainly going to say, hey, as a manager, realize these things have been here. Do you want us to move them for you? We've noticed that this isn't part of your average times, right? Okay. This is the kind of insight that can help. And then you're clicking a button. Yeah, go ahead and move those and it does it for you, right? You're not having to go, oh crap, let me go. It's prompting you based off of this understanding of the way you interact with the system. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's with all, that's with all the different ins and outs of the tool. But that'd just be one example of applying AI to prompt a user with insights that already has on the way you manage the system to help you move things along, right?
With a contextual understanding of the way your unique business works is the other side of it. Like when it's static and it loses the dynamic nature that something with contextual awareness does. That's why our humans obviously are so incredibly valuable. And it doesn't replace humans because it has context. It just means that with that context, you get to make quicker decisions on exact things like that. When you have AI prompting you, I think that's progress. Instead of me having to prompt it to assess everything all the time, it can actually prompt me the things that I actually do need to pay attention to.
Correct. That's exactly right. Right. It's feeding. Once again, this is based off of data. Everything's driven about data. You can't just say, hey, go fix my problem without an understanding what your problem is first.
Right. So speaking of data, one of the things that I think is really important right now, we're at a weird time in the industry where there's a lot of intense consolidation. And one of the things that I saw here, we have a question on the industry tech space. So I'll say it, with all the competition that's risen in the industry, can you elaborate a bit on the importance of collaboration with one another?
Yeah, my favorite example of this is is Google Maps. I've told this a million times. I'll tell it again because I feel like, all right, maybe you know me, Craig. Sometimes I'll break a record, but maybe there's people on who haven't heard this. So back in my early days of development, right, everything was kept, that you built your own system, you built your own, like you built it all, right? You did not there wasn't really APIs. This thought APIs.
There's still a lot of people doing just that. That hasn't stopped.
It hasn't. Yeah. But Google Maps, if you think about when they came out, right, in the early web pages days, and Google came out and they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to create this map, and we're going to let anybody put it on their web page. We're going to let people build apps on top of the map, and we're going to do it for free. Like, we're just going to put it out there. Now, if you wanted to sell it, you know, there's a licensing thing that you got to do. But if you want to put it on your website, if you want to put it on this, if you know, but for the most part, it was free for people to experiment with use and all this. And like, that was the first time it opened my eyes to like collaboration, right? Where I'm like, wow, here's a company who has all kinds of, you know, they own search and all this, because back then they owned search when they came up, but they weren't like, hey, how can we buy more and build more and own everything? They were like, hey, how can we collaborate with the rest of the world and build great apps? And we have apps because of it, right? Waze, I believe, was built off of Google Maps of it originally, right? So now we have these great applications that are built. Now I think Google went and bought them after, you know, they gave them. I mean, so it's all like, okay, maybe they're just setting them up to build them.
Free thing, right? Yeah.
We're going to build you, but then we're going to buy you. But I'm pretty sure whoever built, you know, Waze and got paid hundreds of millions of dollars from Google is probably not sad. So I think that collaboration is super important, not only amongst the software companies. I believe it's also important amongst the shops. Once again, and I love it, Craig, when we go out to conferences and we'll have people sitting next to each other that in all essence should be competitors, but we're breaking bread with them. And when they realize like there really is no competition, I love it. To quote Carm, you know, all ships raise, you know, we want to raise all ships, right? Rise and tide raise all ships. Yeah, learn one thing. So it only does us better when we make each other better. We collaborate and we build and we grow, right? All ships rise when the tide rises. And I think that's the way we've got to look at it, right? I don't have my competitor is me, because I got to get up in the morning and I've got to deal with me, and that's hard enough. Right? It's not the guy down the road. He has to deal with himself. He's his own worst critic, and his own worst. He is having to suffer his own foolish decisions, right? And his people are having to suffer his foolish decisions. Remember that.
Nice. No, yes, we are in competition with ourselves. And I think this correlates well with the question from Dave Betcher here, where he asks, how does pushing DVI to customers work, and what is the advantage? Now, you've been in the shop. You've seen the results of this. You test the product in your shops. You see the firsthand results of each thing that gets released by Autoflow yourself. So I think it'd be great to hear exactly that. Sending inspections. What's the advantage?
Yeah, by the way, we're up to about 90% on both shops now on sending inspections, and that's taken a long time. It's taken years and years and years. It's transparency. It just flat out transparency, because I know as a consumer, before I bought an auto repair shop, when I walked in and I had no idea what that light on my dash meant, I had no idea what was going to cost me for the brakes and the grinding. I was scared, and I'm a man, and I've worked on my car before, but I was still scared because you just don't know what's happening, right? And here's an event. Let's break it down, right? As a consumer, you're going to a shop 2 to 3 times a year, and maybe that's for oil changes. And if you have, maybe it's one bad time because your brakes are grinding, right? So it's a very infrequent event in a year, if you think about it, and with all the noise we've got to deal with. And you're scared, right? Because 3 out of 4 shops, we know this, have been, you know, they 3 out of 4 people have been screwed by an auto repair shop. That's history. That's fact. Go look it up. So allowing somebody to get something on their phone that is tangible, even though it's intangible, it's because it's software. When Craig goes home at night, he talks to Betsy and he goes, and they go, hey, what did you spend $1,000 on? And he's like, blinker fluid. And, oh, hold on. Oh, look, see this, this was this rotor, it's scarred. They might, I mean, what's a scarred rotor versus they don't know that a rotor is not supposed to be scarred. And I'm not making fun of consumers. They just think about their 365 days a year where they have to worry about their job, their kids, everything else. But them looking at this stuff and saying, hey, this is what we bought. Or, hey, this is one thing. Look at this leak. We didn't buy it today, but does this look bad to you? Oh my God, it looks bad to you. To me, that is true transparency. And it gives them some comfort to know that, hey, we're taking the time to do this diagnostic like a doctor would do for you and send you all these reports that have pictures and stuff. It's the same type thing. It gives you some sense of, trust and security. It's not just it makes our AROs better. I think it really does put consumers at ease in a environment where it's not very transparent.
Yeah.
I believe that to this day, Craig. I absolutely, man, when my parents get a digital inspection from my shop, I'll go through it with them. Right?
Yeah.
I will. Yeah. And I want them to have that report.
Yep. No, it's so funny though. And I love that Dave asked this question. And I know Dave knows the answer when he asked this question too, because this is something that he deals with in the shop. A lot of shops are dealing with it. Service advisors don't send the DVIs. They are usually the first barrier to an inspection process. And it's like occupies so much of the time that I spend teaching and training out there as well. It's like, why aren't service advisors sending? Do you hear this from your team sometimes? Do you have any good excuses out of them?
You know me, Craig, it's I beat the why into their head. I beat the fact that by you not sending this, you're not creating the trust and transparency you could. Let's live by the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Do you like the transparency? Do you agree that it's a good thing when you get it and you see it and you send it? Absolutely. Well, then why wouldn't you do it for everybody? Right? And that's, I think, the barrier that a lot of times the shop owners have to get over. It's like, we come across it as, oh, we're going to make more money. And our guys are like, not all of them, but a lot of times they're like, we're already ripping they're selling from their own wallet, right? We're already screwing our customers. We're already charging way too much. Or our parts margins are too high. Or our labor rates way higher than it's about even for the industry, but there's shop down the road only charges $80. So they make all the excuses. That why, man, make sure they understand that there is a truth behind it.
Yeah. No. So Chris, you've been a Toastmasters fan for a long time. I have to believe that, and those of you who don't understand what Toastmasters, we'll explain this for you here. I know we talk about a lot. Some of you hear us mention this. That must come in handy when you're communicating this why element and giving feedback to your team members. Yes?
Man, I just had this conversation with another person, and they had a small business, and they're like, Chris, Toastmasters, why? And I'm like, how many people do you have in your company? I only have a handful. Do you feel like you get your message across all the time? Do you feel like you get a clear message across? No, I don't. That's Toastmasters to me, Craig. A lot of people just think it's about getting up and speaking in front of an audience. An audience can be two people. You know this. It could be your customer. It could be your wife and kids. Toastmasters helps you understand how to convey that message properly and not just spit a whole bunch of noise. It helps, right? Part of we talk about, Toastmasters is feedback. You get feedback on your speeches you give. You get feedback throughout the meeting, and feedback's a gift like you receive on Christmas morning, right? Say thank you when you receive it, and then decide what you're going to do with it after everybody's left the Christmas party. Aunt Flo, you gave you a half-eaten, box of cat food that goes in the trash. Your kids gave you some socks that have fuzzies on them, and you're like, I'm regifting that to Aunt Flo, actually. And then your wife gives you the golf trip to New Mexico for the weekend, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm keeping that. So feedback, when we receive it, we're supposed to just say thank you. Too many people push back on it, right? And they say, oh, I don't need to receive this. That's another thing I tell my team all the time, like feedback's the gift. So, right. So, I think that we have to understand, So Toastmasters, once again, let me go back. Yeah, the feedback, I got distracted with the feedback real quick.
I love that.
It's just in a way to communicate, right, to better your communication. I'll plug it right now. We've started the Toastmasters Club with Carm Capriato. We both sponsored Autoflow and us. It's every, first and third Thursday. It's an online community. If you have not looked it up, hit Craig or I up, hit Carm up.
Scott, come to it. Chat for us here too. There's a link right there.
It has changed my life for the ultimate better. It doesn't matter if you want to get up in front of 100 people or 1,000 people. If you're getting up in front of 2 people, learn how to communicate effectively, especially in the coming ages of AI.
Well, this is one of those topics, though. I think it's a communication thing, and bringing in other people to communicate, I feel like, is sometimes helpful for the teams. The owner is always the owner, is always the owner, is always the owner in front of those people. Having outside voices sometimes is very impactful. And I love this question from Peter Foreman. He asked, he more stated, would be interested in having a process review with someone in the organization on how we use the system, referring to Autoflow and the integration, to make sure we're using it to the best of the ability and effectiveness. Is this something available to us? I'd be happy to pay for the service, he even added. And I think this is a great statement question here, because one, we don't necessarily do a great job of saying, yes, here we are. We are here. Schedule an appointment with me and my training team. We will do these sort of sessions with you. They are free of charge. This is something that I think Chris speaks completely to the heart of this organization. Honestly, and I mentioned this to Peter when he asked the question. I think part and parcel of why I even exist here in this organization, when I joined it 8 years ago, you had this realization that you can give the tool, but that's not where our role ends.
And I 100%, right? A lot of companies, software companies, and this is what differentiates, I think, between us and a lot of companies. Yeah, Peter, hit up Craig like that. Craig has a team of people who they love digging in and they understand process. I'll brag on Levi. We just hired Levi Linsman, and Levi was he was service writer for 20 years, right? Right, yeah. Craig, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
he's a certified badass, and I promised I wouldn't curse on the podcast, but y'all can leave that out later. He loves getting in front of people and working with their teams and right. So you're absolutely right. The reason why Craig and his team exist is because a long time ago I had this idea, and it was the Lord who gave me this idea. I'm not going to take credit for anything. And basically he threw it in my face and he's like, look, you're going to build a team that's going to be an account management team, but they're going to help people. One of our company values, it's the Lorax. Craig knows I love this because I get to quote the Lorax, but and the quote is, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to change. It's not, right? And that's what Craig's team exists. Our support team, I give a shout out to them. I get it all the time. Man, your support team, they're immediate. Like well, yeah, we you might put in a ticket at a software company. It might be 2 weeks before you get back to it. I do that all the time. I have software companies and they might not ever get back to me. My team, no way. We're going to get back hold of you. We're going to try. Now, do we still drop balls? Absolutely. But yes, Peter, now we don't charge for the online stuff, and we don't really say like, hey, we'll go out to shops and stuff like that, because we got to kind of limit our engagement and stuff like that. But, it's always an impossibility if in play, if somebody really wanted Craig or one of his teammates to come out, then there's always an ability to discuss that. Right. And we've said no before to some of that, but online, absolutely. The evaluations, absolutely. And Peter, it'd be a wonderful time. I'm gonna brag on Craig. Him and his team over the last how long have you been with me, Craig?
It's 8 years. 8 years, I think. Yeah.
Him and his team have have created lots of processes and lots of really good training over the years, and we've probably done a poor job of getting that back to our clients, because once they sign on, they're like, hey, we're good. We might call in and check on y'all, we're trying to do it with the webinars and everything else. But yeah, absolutely hit up Craig and his team, because man, they have got so much good content, so many good people. Josh Cagle, Bridget, awesome. Great. Josh Cloutier, yes, he's one of my nephews. Like, he's got great people in his organization that are there and ready to help.
Nice. No, I appreciate that, Chris. Hey, let's go back to your shops for a minute. Now, you test Autoflow products. We mentioned this before.
Sometimes before anybody ever gets
to it. Yeah. The first guinea pig there, he's going to generally work out the bugs there. I'm curious on how do you use these experiences to shape the direction of Autoflow products? Like, you even tested Phone Assistant recently from a different product. It isn't just Autoflow stuff. You test lots of things.
I test lots of things. Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of times y'all don't even get it. Right now, a good example, the new scheduler, it's out. And guess who's using it? Golden rule. And guess who needed to be the first one to use it? Golden rule. Like, we're not going to release it to the rest of the world until we've worked. And when it gets released, it's working. It's doing really well. I think we're, moving down the path of starting to roll it out to some other, beta type shops and stuff like that. But I do. And look, yes, I am always, I'm going to bring up a partner. I think they sponsor your podcast, Inbound. I love David Boyd and his company. If you don't know Inbound, man, they've got this AI that they will listen to your calls and it'll send you a report every morning and it'll grade your calls off this certain criteria. Craig, I had just switched over both my shops to shoot, I forget which phone company it was.
Ring
online,
Central, wasn't it?
Ring Central. Thank you, Ring Central. I signed a 3-year contract, and here David Boyd pops on the scene, and we get to talk to him, and I'm like, man, I love his tech. Craig, I'm paying 2 bills right now. Don't tell Colin, don't tell the rest of the team this, but I'm paying 2 phone bills right now because I'm like, either I wait 3 years or I got to put this other one in place because I have to see this thing. And I have been impressed. And hey, very soon we're going to have caller ID with them because we built it with Ring Central, where if a call comes in, it pops
actually
up.
Released on Wednesday in the last release for the inbound integration. Yeah.
And we're about to set it up with Golden Rule, right? So that's why I did it. So we could build the integration, so we could do that. Super cool. I'm not saying go run out to go use inbound, but I'm constantly trying to push the boundaries with my shops.
My podcast. So
I eat my own dog food. And look, I'm once again not going to knock on anybody else who's doing it. I still own shops. I eat my dog food. I understand I still go to a 20 group. I still go to things that keep me connected. I still sit in classes. Me and you are teaching, and I will go sit in a class and watch an instructor because I want to know what they have to say. And can that change my shops or my business for the better?
Nice. Yeah. How does your team like being the guinea pigs?
I think they're used to it now.
They're used to it now.
And, their one caveat is make sure it's not broken when you give it to us. And I'm not saying we like to give them broken stuff, but there's been in the past where maybe we've given them stuff that they're hobbled and they get pretty upset. But now we're in a much better place where we give them stuff that we know is vetted and it works.
Nice.
Yeah, they've learned. It's part of my change management, Craig, strategy.
Okay. So this leads into a topic that I think that we're both very passionate about here. And this one also came from Rui Martins. What skills do you feel a service advisor, is how he phrased this question. What skills do you feel a service advisor will require in the next 5 years that may not necessarily have required in the past 5? Now, he said service advisor in this question. I'm going to just expand that a little bit more into a manager in the shop as well.
Oh, I thought you were going to answer it. I think it's a great.
I have an answer. I think it's on change management skills. And then there's a secondary piece to this as well regarding information resilience as a skill in the world today as AI slop becomes the reality. But change management, we don't have a lot of people who have management skills in specific for implementing and mastering change. And what we're entering, and I know you see this too, like your crystal ball, as well as anyone's, is busted past 1 to 3 years. Even if we even claim that, it's changing so fast right now, which means the number one skill anyone in business, in any role in a business, has is managing change, because they are going to come fast and fierce in this next realm.
Craig, and we used to do this, and we don't do this deck, or one of our training classes used to be on shop deck technology timeline. Right. And we would, and part of the premise of that training, and this is now moved into our change management, some of our other things that we do now, because all we've done is just built on. But part of that was us teaching and telling shops the mindset it's not DVI. Does DVI matter? Does DVI DVI? It was that you're forcing your team to think about technology and change, and adopting technology and change, right? And as we go, technology is not going away. It's only accelerating and getting. So I'm just backing up and saying you're absolutely right, Craig. The DVI is just a tool. Getting them to change, to adopt any tool, is in your best interest, in having a change management type heart in your organization. I do this with training. I love training. Why do I love training? Why do I force all of my people and all my companies to train? Because it forces you to think about change. It forces you to think about this thing you just read, think about this thing you just learned, and it's going to change you whether you want it to or not. I don't care if it's, we went to this class. What did y'all learn? Nothing. And then next week, they're like, oh, check, we just did this little thing that we learned in this class. Well, I thought y'all learned nothing. Well, we didn't learn a whole lot. I mean, we learned like this. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's seeping into their brain, dude.
It is.
Training is a good way to create that change mentality in organizations.
Yeah, it's the repetition of some things too. something I've learned, you're a big fan of repeating yourself, I know, on some things. And I've learned that, like, oh, it's so true. It's necessary in order for some things to stick, because we're being bombarded with so much information now. We put stuff out there, and then we still get the question on if that thing is a thing. And it's like, haven't we said it? Probably not enough.
Probably not enough. And you know, to I guess answer, you know, your question a little bit better. I mean, AI. I mean, there you go. You know, how much is your service advisor? How many service advisors out there? I'd hate to take the poll that are saying, hell no, I'm never going to use AI. No, I'm never going to rewrite my note. Hell no, I'm never going to. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going to do this because I refuse to adopt technology and things that are going to change our world. Well, okay, okay, man. If you're not changing, then to quote the book, change or die. Go read it. Go give it to your team. Man, it is a great book on change. Probably one of the best that's ever been written. But unfortunately, yeah, that's it. Like, you got to get everybody in the mindset that it's okay. Personal feelings aside on what AI is and what it's going to be in the future. You know, it's a philosophical question that I don't have, or answer that I want to spend a lot of time on. But
no,
hopefully that answers.
Because related to this question, this is a really, really good question for today. Question. I really do feel the term that has come up for me. I was reading a more pessimistic book on AI. I've mentioned it before on a few things. It's called The Coming Wave by Mustafa Suleyman. He's the CEO of one of those AI companies. So he's a tech insider, and he's recognizing that on the tail end of all the benefits that there's also these consequences. And one of the terms that's come up in this is information resilience as a skill set. The ability to resist some of the information that you are initially being confronted with and weigh it, and then having tools to actually go and get and verify that it's accurate. Like, this is going to be the thing that I think is going to evolve slowly, a lot slower than the information is going to come out. And then this is going to apply to literally technical data. It's going to apply to procedures that are being written. I mean, the amount of data that is out there for auto repair that we need, diagnostic information, you name it, whether a vehicle is equipped with these certain things or not, there's going to be so much initial trust in the fact that AI is giving you some quick answers to things, and then it's going to be wrong. It's just going to be wrong because the source data is wrong, or it interpreted something else, or there's confusion, or the model was just trained poorly. All these different things. I think that a front line of defense is and I would say it's probably an ingrained cynicism to some extent, but you have to have that resilience. And I don't think that is something that is being really taught in any form right now. I think people will read a title of a headline on a social media post right now and draw all of their opinions from that. That quick. And now they've gone out and spoken on that thing once or twice to other people who trust that individual. And now you have incorrect data being spread, and it just spreads very quickly. There has to be some way to stop that. And I don't know what that skill set's going to look like, Ness, but it's going to be a lot of cynicism up front and skepticism. That's going to be a skill, actual skill, doubting data.
It's true.
It is.
It's true.
It is. Hey, we have another question here that I thought was interesting because, hey, doubting data is something that insurance companies are really good at because fraud is way up in that area. And Autoflow has been engaged in this space now with the IDVI product. And yes, folks, that's right. Autoflow is trying to make warranty claims suck less every single day. And one of our IDVI questions came in, is there a GPS tracker so we can locate where the inspection is taking place?
There's going to be a GPS tracker, I believe, on the images is where
yes,
where it's coming. And I know it's in the can, or it's being developed, it's being worked on. I have seen prototypes of it. I think it's awesome. You know, it's interesting, you know, some of the AI things we're talking about implementing, but this is, you know, and this isn't necessarily AI. This is just strictly like you know, geolocation, which has nothing to do with AI. But yeah, so to answer that question, absolutely. We've been working on it, and that is coming because we realize that, you know, for those of you who don't understand, you know, IDVI, a quick summary of it is, you know, your consumers are buying these warranties on their cars after their initial, you know, new car warranty folds, or they just get another car and they just want a warranty. They want that extra coverage. And so we've been helping that industry by instead of them sending an adjuster out, we send an inspection out, or the company sends an inspection out to the shop. The shop fills out the information on the vehicle. And so it's very quick turnaround times, and part of the thing is making sure that no fraud is happening. Right. Yeah. And that's what he's alluding to is, hey, making sure that these pictures are actually coming from the right location versus are they just somebody uploading them somewhere from who knows where. Yeah. So absolutely. And there's going to be more to that, and anytime we try to develop something for one industry, we look, how does it potentially apply to our industry? And I guess that was going to be my point too, is we always look and say, okay, does this matter in auto repair shops? Could it not? Who knows? This particular one, maybe eventually it does matter.
I've talked to Autoflow clients that have received one of these inspection requests. It's through a secure link from an insurance agency that's looking at a warranty claim. And you click the link and now you have to do an inspection that they've laid out for you. And like, wait a minute, this looks like the Autoflow DVI.
Yeah.
It is. It's going to have some of these other enhanced features on there to help reinforce the validity of those inspections, building even further trust between insurance companies and shops so they can speed up the claims process and save everybody money, hopefully, namely time, not having to wait for those adjusters and insurance guys to come to the shop, and you won't have to spend the time, smoozing them so that they agree with your assessments anymore. That's I never enjoyed that.
Yeah. And so in this, and so we're very new to this industry, and we have small. We're working on a couple clients here and there, and it's but I see eventually everybody. This is just one more digitization of a product that we're happy to be a part of. There's don't want to spend a lot of time up, but there's all kinds of companies out there. I think everybody understands
pretty fun. So, Chris, one of the other questions that I wanted to dive into here is the causes that we participate in. And more specifically, is there any type of causes that you would encourage our audience to also back up and support? I mean, we do some fun things here, and you do some things through your shops too. What would you tell a shop owner who's looking into giving back?
I recently have started supporting very heavily this company called OnRamp, and they're out of Texas. So I've supported Hands of the Carpenter. They're in Colorado. That's one of the ones we
Spark
support.
Automotive now. Yeah.
Love them. They have a heart for serving. I think handsofthecarpenter.com still, but maybe you go to their new website. Does Hands of the Carpenter still work? Craig,
I think so. Yes. But it should be Spark Automotive, if I'm not mistaken. Spark Hope Automotive.
Spark Hope. OnRamp, OnRamp DFW. OnRamp is a company that gives cars to needy people, needy family. It's not a handout; it's a hand up. So they got to go through a vetting process. They have to, they have to have a sponsor, and then they give them a car, but then they have to do maintenance. And for a year, they're taught about maintenance, taught about the car and the importance of the car. So I really like this program. I like programs like this. I wish I could say they were nationwide and that everybody should go. Help OnRamp. I help them buy, do repairs for extremely cheap, right? If I charge them at all. Sometimes I'll take care, just different ways that I can help them. We used to give away cars ourselves, but I really like organizations like this. And this is why I say, man, there's a real need for organizations like y'all, because I think most shop owners want to help other people. But I'm going to say this, and it sucks. No good deed goes unpunished, right? We help people. And, you give them a break on this, you give them a break on this, and those are the ones that leave the 1-star review. You go give away a car, and, they come back 6 months, and they're like, you guys, y'all, I can't believe you gave me this lemon. And you're like, well, so I like having, working with like OnRamp, go look them up, find somebody local that you like. I like once again, Spark Hope. Being able to offer, whether you're offering your services, your time, your text time, whatever, right? These are companies that they're doing it for you. So you still have the ability to help them, and you still feel good about helping them. But then the repercussions don't necessarily fall back on you. And I'm not saying that it's not good to give away cars. I know plenty of shops that give away cars, and I think that it's a wonderful thing to give away cars. I think
No,
it's wonderful.
it's a challenging thing. I did some podcasting on this. I talked with some folks from Spark Hope. I also talked to one of my local Toastmasters members who herself had been in a position of needing help from a shop and not having the ability to ask a shop for help or even state her situation. And it's interesting how many people come through the doors of our organizations that perhaps you are interested in helping, but we don't have a clear thing already out there that makes it very obvious for them to be able to take advantage of it. And these opportunities are probably there today. You just don't know. So yeah, I love that. You've always had a heart for this. And I think that that's one of the things as an influencer in this industry that's really great to see is how to help other shops help others. There is a right way to do it and a better way to do it, because as you said, there is no good deed that goes unpunished. You can get yourself in some real sticky messes sometimes just trying to do the right thing. It's not.
And look, we all stew and we all feel pain on the one bad review.
Mm-hmm.
We ignore the 99 good reviews and the 1,000 good people that we help. We stew on the one bad review and we're like, crap, like it ruins us, right? And I know everybody's heart breaks when they get the 1-star review. So, and I think over time it makes us tough and crass. Like I like giving. Look, we have this ability to offer things in an industry that, like you said, there's customers coming all day that actually do need help, but having an avenue to go, hey, go here, and they can help you, and then we can help you through that versus trying to once again do the right thing, and then they, look, not one of my customers ever comes to me and doesn't want a discount, right?
Yeah.
They're not like, hey, let me pay full price. Hey, I want to play like, and that's not. I mean, everybody's hurting for money, but some people are really hurting. So God planted us in auto repair. We have things that we could do via auto repair to really help. And when you help an organization and your people help an organization, like, man, you feel good, right? And once again, that punishment doesn't come back on you if something does go wrong. You can just feel good about giving that particular thing.
Yeah, I think it's so important. I've mentioned this on the podcast before too, but the thing that I see is team members genuinely do feel good about the organization they're working for, knowing that it's working towards the benefit of others as well. There's some service advisors among us. There's a lot of team members that may even see profit as a dirty word, which is crazy. I know business has to exist, so we do need to be profitable, but they aren't motivated the same way you think everyone is towards profit and drive. A lot of times those are really impactful things. I know personally, working with you, Chris, I get to see some of these things play out, and it just gives us an opportunity to have a low pressure conversation with some amazing people who are doing some great things and just feel really great about being able to help. It's a powerful motivator. So thank you. Good stuff. So, Chris, as we wrap up here, we just have a few minutes left for the time we allotted today. Is there anything that we didn't ask that you wish we did? Maybe something about a band or something like that, or like
as I sit in my studio with my drum set over here, my guitar, like, hey, here, that's a mixing board right here. Johnny Blacktop, that was an old persona of mine. You see the blacktop there, and yes. Yeah, I'm an old, almost famous musician, Craig, and I'm glad that the Lord had better plans than I had for myself. Because if my plans worked the way that I wanted them to, I probably would be in a ditch somewhere, one leg in the gutter and one reaching for a can of beans, and that's the yeah. So where I am, and that's not to make fun of any starving musicians, because I was a starving musician and I did have one foot in the gutter and one hand reaching for beans one night. Because I slipped in rainwater. No. So what happened when we were eating beans. No, I'm just kidding, Craig. That wasn't it. But no, old washed up musician, still love music. If you ever catch me at a karaoke bar, that's my jam now. People ask me all the time, do you still play? I play for myself. I'll pick up a guitar. No more band days. Those are long gone. Do I miss them? Heck yeah. Do I miss loading in at 6 p.m. and loading out at 3 a.m. in the morning? No. No, I don't.
I bet.
Yeah, but I think we covered a lot, Greg, and I appreciate the time.
So next chance to meet up with us is going to be at Apex. That is next week, Industry Week, Apex and SEMA. So if you are going to be there, please reach out to us to let us know. We actually do have a presidential suite, we'd love to do a video interview with some of our clients and friends and partners. So please don't be shy about getting hold of us. And if you're in town, I don't know if any of those parties have a karaoke machine, but that's probably your next chance to see Chris sing. Awesome. No, thank you so much for doing this again, Chris. Thank you so much, Scott and Dan, for helping us on the back end of this webinar production. Thank you for everyone who submitted a question. Anyone who has further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll love to do this again. So thank you for joining us and have a wonderful rest of your week. See you all soon.